The beer hit the floor first, then Rachel's knees. 6 Navy SEALs erupted in laughter as phones came out to film the clumsy waitress drowning in shame and broken glass. But the retired admiral in the corner wasn't laughing. He was calculating the mathematical perfection of her fall, the controlled breathing, the eyes that held no fear. When the team leader's hand closed around her throat, Rachel Torres spoke for the first time that night. "You have 10 seconds. That's when the lasers appeared. Before we dive into this story, hit that subscribe button and stay with me until the very end. Comment what city you're watching from so I can see how far this journey travels. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next." Rachel Torres had worked at Anchor Point Bar for 3 years. Tonight she'd broken the first rule: stay invisible. The tray slipped. 6 bottles exploded across the table where the SEAL team sat. Beer soaked their clothes, their phones, their egos. Jesus Christ. The first one jumped up. Rachel dropped to her knees. "I'm so sorry. I'll get towels. Look at this dead weight." The woman, Lieutenant Chen, kicked broken glass toward Rachel. "Can't even carry a tray without screwing it up." Laughter erupted. Phones came out. Everyone wanted to be part of the joke. "How'd you even get hired?" The blonde one. Morrison leaned forward. "You got some kind of disability." Rachel kept picking up glass. Her hands moved mechanically, each shard catalogued, each piece placed carefully on the tray. "I'll clean this up. Manager will comp your drinks." "Comp our drinks?" Chen laughed harder. "You think that fixes this?" Rachel looked up. "I'm very sorry." "Sorry doesn't cut it, sweetheart." Chen's boot came down on Rachel's hand. Not hard enough to break bones, hard enough to pin her there, kneeling in beer and broken glass. The bar went quiet. Not silent music still played, people still talked, but attention shifted. This was content. This was a story. Rachel stared at the floor, her heartbeat 52 beats per minute, her breathing unchanged, her muscles relaxed. Impossible. "Look at me when I'm talking to you." Chen pressed down harder. Rachel looked up, held eye contact for 2 seconds. Exactly 2. "Please, let me clean this up." Morrison leaned back. "You know what you are, Deadweight. The kind of person who makes this country weak. Can't handle pressure, can't handle responsibility." Something flickered across Rachel's face. Morrison saw it and grinned. "Oh, did I hit a nerve? You gonna cry now?" Rachel's voice went flat. "No, sir." "Sir," Morrison laughed. "You think you're military? This isn't basic training. This is the real world where incompetent people get... Jake." The team leader, Gunnery Sergeant Reeves, spoke quietly. "Ease up. Come on, Gunny. Just having fun." "Fun's over. Let her clean up." Chen lifted her boot. Rachel resumed collecting glass. Same mechanical precision. Same empty expression. Morrison wasn't finished. "You think we're being harsh? This is nothing. In the real world places we've been, weakness gets people killed. Your incompetence multiplied by 1,000 is why missions fail, why operators die." Rachel stood with the tray. "I'll get towels." "Hold on." Reeves was looking at her differently. "You prior service?" The question landed hard. Rachel kept her face neutral. "No, sir." "You sure something about the way you move?" "I'm sure. Because I've seen people get embarrassed, get pushed around. They all have tells, shoulders hunch, eyes drop, breathing gets shallow." Reeves stood, moved around the table. "But your posture's perfect. Breathing hasn't changed, and when Chen stepped on your hand that wasn't flinching. That was controlled stillness. That's training. Rachel's heartbeat still 52. I need to clean this up. What's your last name? Torres. Rachel Torres. Reeves said it slowly, running it through some internal database. You grow up around here. Can I go? Answer the question. I don't have to answer anything. The words came out sharper. I'm not in your chain of command. I'm a waitress who dropped some beers. I apologized. I'm cleaning it up. We're done. Morrison whistled. Oh, she's got fire after all. Fire? Chen laughed. That's a mouse trying to sound like a lion. Reeves held up his hand, still watching Rachel. You're right. We're done. He pulled out his wallet, dropped $200 bills on the wet table. For the drinks and dry cleaning. Rachel wanted to leave. Her hand tightened on the tray, but Reeves was watching too closely. Keep the change, Reeves added. Consider it an apology. We weren't that bad, Morrison protested. You put a boot on a civilian's hand in a room full of cameras. Reeves's voice went cold. Yeah, you were that bad. Chen rolled her eyes. When'd you become such a Boy Scout? About the same time you forgot what honor means. Reeves turned to Rachel. I am sorry. They're wrong about how we should respond to the world being harsh. Rachel nodded once. Professional. Distant. Thank you. She turned to go. Morrison stood fast, reached for her arm. Hold on, we're not... Rachel moved. Her body wasn't where his hand expected. She'd shifted weight-adjusted angle. Morrison stumbled forward into the table. Complete silence. Morrison recovered. Face flushed. You just... I stepped back. Rachel's voice stayed flat. You reached. I moved. That's all. But everyone had seen it. The precision. The timing. The way she'd read his movement before he finished making it. Reeves's eyes narrowed. Who trained you? Nobody. Bullshit. Chen was on her feet. Nobody moves like that without training. What are you, some MMA gym bunny who thinks she's hard? I don't want trouble. Too late. Morrison grabbed for her again, faster this time. Rachel caught his wrist, twisted. Morrison gasped as his arm locked at an angle that made every joint scream. She held him there for 1 second, long enough to make the point, then released. Morrison staggered back, cradling his arm. What the fuck? Don't touch me again. Different voice, same pitch, same volume, but with an undertone that dropped the temperature 5 degrees. Reeves stepped between them. Hands up. Okay, everyone breathe. Torres, that was self-defense. Rachel's eyes were different now. Still calm, but something underneath. Something vast. He grabbed me. I removed myself. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Where did you learn that wrist lock? YouTube. YouTube. Reeves didn't believe her. You're telling me you learned a perfect compliance hold from videos. I'm telling you I don't want trouble. I'm telling you I'm cleaning up this glass now. And I'm telling you. She paused. That something underneath rose closer. If anyone touches me again, it won't end well. Chen laughed. Forced. Is that a threat you're threatening Navy SEALs? Statement of fact. Morrison moved toward her. Reeves caught him. Stand down. Gunny, she assaulted me. You grabbed her first, twice, in front of witnesses. Reeves's grip was iron. We're done. But they weren't. The old man in the corner stood up. He'd been there all night, nursing whiskey, watching everything. Admiral James Hawthorne walked toward their table. Careful steps, bad knees, straight spine. Gunny Reeves, the Admiral said. You're making a mistake. Reeves straightened. Recognition flooded his face. Admiral Hawthorne, sir. I didn't know you were watching. The Admiral's eyes fixed on Rachel. I've been watching all night, specifically her. Rachel's heartbeat still 52. Sir, I don't understand. That wrist lock that wasn't YouTube. That was CQC-7 Krav Maga variant modified for counter-hostage extraction. The Admiral's voice carried. The stance she's holding, not self-defense, threat assessment positioning, weight distributed, exits cataloged, hands ready. Admiral, Rachel's voice. And that fall at the beginning, not clumsiness, calculated drop designed to look accidental while putting her below table line perfect position if someone came through the door with a weapon. Complete silence now. Who are you? Chen whispered. Rachel's eyes met the Admiral's. Long moment. Then, nobody. That's the correct answer. The Admiral smiled. Not friendly. Problem is nobody doesn't exist. Not like you. Not with your skill set. Reeves's hand moved to his hip. Muscle memory. Even though he wasn't carrying. Admiral, what are you saying? I'm saying your team just spent 15 minutes humiliating someone who could kill all 6 of you before you understood you were in danger. The Admiral pulled out his phone. I'm saying that posture, that breathing control, that situational awareness isn't military. It's something else. He showed Reeves the phone. The gunny's face went white. That's not possible, Reeves said. They're all dead. The program was terminated in 2019. The Admiral finished. Officially, but nothing ever really ends. It just gets a new classification. Rachel's hands tightened on the tray. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. The Admiral stepped closer. Question is whether we have this conversation here or somewhere private. Morrison looked between them, still rubbing his wrist. Someone want to explain what's going on? Your team, the Admiral said, just assaulted Ghost 7. The name hung in the air. Chen's face changed. That's not Ghost 7 is a legend, a recruitment story. Is it? The Admiral kept watching Rachel. Tell me what the legends say. They say Ghost 7 was an operator. Best one ever trained, completely off book, did impossible things, extracted targets from places that couldn't be breached. Never failed. Chen's voice lost its edge. They say Ghost 7 died on an embassy rescue in Damascus. Body never recovered. And if Ghost 7 didn't die? Rachel set down the tray. Carefully. When she spoke, her voice had changed, stripped of deference, cold as January. If Ghost 7 didn't die, then Ghost 7 chose not to be found, and anyone who violated that choice would need a very good reason not to face consequences. Reeves's hand stayed on his hip. Is that a threat? Clarification. Rachel's eyes swept the room. I count 43 people in this bar. 17 have phones out. 6 of you are SEALs, impressive, but tired post-deployment reaction time down 30%. Admiral Hawthorne is a witness. Anything that happens here becomes documented. So no gunny, not a threat. I'm explaining why walking away is everyone's best option. I can't just walk away. Why not? 10 minutes ago I was a waitress you could mock and forget. Now I'm a ghost story. Either way, I'm nobody you need to worry about. But if you're really... Rachel moved again. 1 second there. Next second gone, repositioned by the door. 8 feet of space between her and the SEALs. I was never here, she said. You had drinks. You were rude to the waitress. You left a big tip. That's the story. Only story. Negative. The Admiral's voice hardened. You don't get to choose this time. I always choose. Not anymore. The Admiral pressed something on his phone. 2 minutes ago I triggered a secure protocol. Active since you vanished. The moment your identity was flagged in a public incident, certain people got notified. Rachel's face didn't change, but something in the air shifted. What people? The Admiral didn't answer. The bar's front door opened. 2 men in dark suits walked in, the kind that carry weapons. "Miss Torres," the first one said, "come with us." "No. Not a request." Rachel's laugh was sharp, humorless. "Everything's a request when you don't have authority to make demands. We have authorization from nobody I recognize." Rachel's voice went colder. "I'm not active, not recalled, not anything except a civilian who's had a bad night. So unless you're arresting me, which requires reading my rights and probable cause, I'm leaving." She turned toward the back exit. 4 more agents at that door," the man said. 6 more in vehicles outside. You're not leaving Miss Torres. Not until we have answers." Rachel stopped, turned back. "What answers? Where you've been for 6 years, what you've been doing, whether you're a security risk." "I've been here, working, living quietly, and no, I'm not a risk unless you make me one." The second agent, younger, nervous, reached for his sidearm. Rachel saw it, tracked it, calculated. Reeves stepped forward. "Everyone calm down," went command in his voice now. "Torres, whatever your real name is, you're clearly skilled. These gentlemen clearly have orders. Admiral Hawthorne clearly has context. So how about we figure this out like professionals instead of turning a bar into a firefight?" "Sound advice," the Admiral said. He raised his voice. "Ghost 7 is under my protection. Has been since the day she vanished. Any action taken against her without my explicit authorization violates national security protocol." The first agent's jaw tightened. "Sir, with respect, your authority is absolute in matters concerning Project Reaper." The Admiral cut him off. "Check your briefing. Section 9, subsection C. Any surviving assets from that program answer to exactly one person, me. So unless you want to explain to your director why you violated a presidentially sealed order, stand down." The agents looked at each other, at Rachel, at the Admiral. "We need confirmation," the first one said. "Make your call, outside. Take your friends with you. This woman's been through enough tonight." The agents left, slowly, reluctantly. The bar stayed quiet. Then someone dropped a glass in the kitchen. The spell broke. People went back to drinks conversations, careful pretense of not seeing anything. Reeves looked at Rachel with new eyes. "You really Ghost 7. Does it matter?" "Yeah, it does. Because if you are, then everything I said tonight, everything my team did..." He stopped. "We're supposed to be the best. And we just spent 15 minutes bullying someone who makes us look like children playing soldier. You didn't know. Doesn't make it okay." Reeves turned to his team. "We screwed up. Majorly. We're going to fix it." Morrison still cradled his wrist. "How do we fix assaulting a legend?" "We start," Reeves said, "by apologizing. Actually apologizing. Not throwing money at the problem." Chen stepped forward. The hardness cracked. Something more human showed through. "I put my boot on your hand, called you Deadweight." Her voice caught. "If you really are Ghost 7, you've saved more lives than our entire team combined. And I treated you like garbage because I wanted to look tough for a crowd that doesn't matter." Rachel's expression didn't change. "Apology noted." "That's it. That's all." "What do you want me to say? That it's okay? It's not. That I forgive you? I don't. That I understand? I do. You're operators in a culture that values hardness over humanity. You made a choice that seemed right." Rachel's voice stayed clinical. "But understanding doesn't equal forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't equal trust. So yes, apology noted. That's all." The Admiral sighed. "Rachel, don't." She cut him off. "You don't get to use my name like we're friends. You tracked me, kept tabs, had a protocol ready. So no, Admiral, we're not on familiar terms. I kept you safe. You kept me monitored. There's a difference. Fair enough. The Admiral pulled out a card, set it on the bar. But I need you to take this, because whether you believe it or not, you're about to have a problem. Rachel looked at the card, didn't touch it. What problem? The kind that finds you whether you're ready or not. The Admiral's phone buzzed. He looked at it. His face went grim. In fact, it just found you, 3 minutes ago. He turned the phone toward her. Rachel looked at the screen. Something changed in her eyes. Not fear. Recognition. Old wounds tearing open. When? Her voice tight. 2 hours ago, just confirmed. Confirmed what? Reeves was trying to follow. Admiral, what's going on? The Admiral kept his eyes on Rachel. Tell them. They deserve to know what's coming. Rachel was quiet. Long moment. When she spoke, her voice carried new weight. History, violence, things done in darkness that couldn't stay buried. 6 years ago, I was part of a program. Project Reaper. We were operators. Not the kind you know. We were made, not trained, shaped from childhood into something perfect and terrible. She paused. I got out because I saved 2 children during an extraction. A boy named Rashid and his sister Amira. I was supposed to eliminate them as witnesses. Instead, I faked my death and got them to safety. Jesus, Morrison whispered. Those children are why I left, why I became nobody, why I've spent 6 years serving drinks and pretending to be normal. Rachel's hands shook now. First real emotion, all night. And 2 hours ago, someone took Rashid. The words fell like stones. Who? Chen asked. The person who created Project Reaper. Dr. Khalid al-Rashidi, the architect. Rachel's voice went dead. The man who made me into a weapon, and now he's got the boy I gave up everything to save. The Admiral nodded. There's more. Rashid wasn't alone. Rashidi took 43 other children, all from families connected to former Reaper assets. He's rebuilding the program. Why? Reeves asked. Because I ruined it the first time. Rachel finally took the card. He spent 2 decades creating the perfect weapon. Then I proved I wasn't perfect. I felt something, chose something, became human. That broke his theory, his life's work. He won't rest until he fixes what he thinks I broke. So what do you do? Rachel looked at the card. Just a phone number. I give him what he wants. Which is me. Rachel's eyes went cold, colder than all night. He wants proof his system worked, that I'm still the weapon he made. So I go back, walk into whatever hell he's prepared, and I kill him. That's suicide, Morrison said. Probably. Then we come with you. Reeves's voice was firm. Our team, we help. Rachel laughed, sharp, bitter. 10 minutes ago you called me Deadweight. Now you want to run a black op with me. 10 minutes ago we were assholes. Now we know better. Reeves met her eyes. You said we're operators in a culture that values hardness over humanity. You're right. But that doesn't mean we can't learn, can't change, can't be better. This isn't your fight. You made it our fight when you didn't break Morrison's arm. Reeves gestured at his teammate. You could have, should have tactically, but you controlled it, showed restraint. That's Humanity Ghost 7. That's the choice you're talking about. And if you can choose that after everything you've been through, then we can damn well choose to stand with you now. Rachel looked at each of them. The SEALs who'd mocked her, the Admiral who'd tracked her, the bar full of people who'd watched and done nothing. If I do this, she said slowly, people will die. Probably some of us. Definitely some of them. This isn't a training exercise, not a sanctioned op. It's me walking into a nightmare and trying to pull children out before it eats us all. Understood. And if we survive, I'm gone. No debriefing. No medals, no story. I go back to being nobody. You never mention my name again. Deal. Rachel looked at the Admiral. You'll provide intel, everything I have. Equipment, whatever you need. Exfil, arranged. And if it goes sideways, if Rashidi kills me and takes your team, then I spend the rest of my life making sure he pays. The Admiral's voice was iron. But that won't happen. You don't know that. No, but I know you. 6 years ago, you chose to be human. That choice doesn't make you weaker, Ghost 7. It makes you unpredictable, dangerous in ways Rashidi can't calculate. The Admiral smiled coldly. He thinks he's hunting a weapon, but weapons don't feel, don't adapt, don't choose. You do, and that's going to destroy him. Rachel was quiet. Then she pulled out her phone. Old, battered, probably replaced a dozen times. She dialed the number on the card. Someone answered immediately. This is Ghost 7, Rachel said. Tell the architect I'm coming home. She hung up, looked at Reeves and his team. We leave in 6 hours. Use the time to get ready. This will be the hardest thing you've ever done. Harder than Buds? Buds teaches you to be unbreakable. This will teach you what happens when unbreakable things shatter. Rachel headed for the door. 6 hours, Gunny. Don't be late. She left. The bar stayed silent. Then Morrison spoke, voice shaky. Did we just agree to follow a ghost into hell? Yeah, Reeves said. We did. Good. Chen's voice was hard again. Different now, not cruel, determined. Because we owe her that, and a hell of a lot more. The Admiral watched them leave, then looked at his phone, at the secure message, at location coordinates for a facility that officially didn't exist. God help them all, he murmured. Outside, Rachel stood in the parking lot, breathing salt air, feeling the weight of 6 years lifting and settling back in a different configuration. She'd tried to be nobody, tried to be normal. But normal people didn't get calls from the architect. Normal people didn't hear screams of children they'd saved. Normal people could walk away. Rachel Torres had never been normal, and Ghost 7 was about to remember why. Her phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. Rashid asks for you every hour. I tell him you're not coming. Prove me wrong. Attached a photo. Rashid. 16 now. Chained to a wall. Eyes that had seen too much, but still holding on to something. Still fighting. Rachel's hands stopped shaking. Her heartbeat 52. Her breathing controlled. Her mind clear. The weapon woke up. And it was angry. 6 hours gave Rachel just enough time to remember who she used to be. She stood in her apartment, one room, minimal furniture, everything positioned for quick exit, and opened the closet she hadn't touched in 6 years. Behind the winter coats and boxes of old books, a false panel. Behind that, a duffel bag. Her hands didn't shake when she unzipped it. Inside 3 passports, none with her current name. 40,000 in cash, mixed currencies. A satellite phone with 1 number programmed, and wrapped in oilcloth a knife she'd carried through Damascus, Aleppo, Kabul, and a dozen other places that didn't make it into official reports. She pulled out the knife, tested the balance. Still perfect. Her phone buzzed. Reeves. Location, she sent coordinates. An abandoned airfield 20 miles outside town. No security cameras, no witnesses. Perfect for things that needed to stay off the books. 30 minutes, Reeves replied. Rachel changed clothes, black tactical pants, compression shirt, boots worn soft from 1,000 missions she'd tried to forget. Each piece felt like putting on a second skin. Or maybe her first skin. Maybe Rachel Torres, the waitress, had been the costume all along. She caught her reflection in the bathroom mirror. For 6 years, she'd avoided really looking at herself. Now she stared. Really stared. Same face. Same eyes. But something different behind them now. The weapon was waking up. Her phone buzzed again. Different number. The Admiral. I'm sending you everything I have on the facility. It's not much. Rashidi's been off-grid since the program shut down. But 3 months ago, satellite imagery caught thermal signatures in the Syrian desert. Same location as the old training compound. The tomb. You remember it. I remember everything. Rachel's voice was flat. That's the problem. Rachel, send the files. She hung up. 30 seconds later, her phone chimed. Encrypted files downloading. She opened the first one. Satellite imagery. A compound buried in sand and rock. From above it looked like nothing. Just another ruin in a country full of ruins. But Rachel knew what was underneath. Miles of tunnels, training rooms, holding cells. The place where children were broken down and rebuilt into weapons. The place where she'd spent 8 years of her childhood. Her hands started shaking again. She forced them still. Breathed. Counted. 52 beats per minute. She could do this. She'd done harder things. She kept scrolling. More images. More data. Then a video file. She almost didn't open it. Almost. But Rashid's face was in the thumbnail. She pressed play. Grainy footage. Poor lighting. A concrete room Rachel recognized cell block 7 where they kept the ones who resisted. Rashid sat on the floor, wrists zip-tied, face bruised, but defiant. Someone off camera spoke. Tell me about Ghost 7. Rashid's voice older now, but still carrying that edge of stubborn hope she remembered. I don't know anyone by that name. The woman who saved you, who carried you and your sister through a war zone, who killed 6 men to get you out. You're telling me you don't remember her name? I remember Rachel. Just Rachel. And where is Rachel now? I don't know. She disappeared. Said it was safer that way. A pause. Then another voice. Older. Cultured. With an accent that made Rachel's blood run cold. Dr. Khalid al-Rashidi. The architect. Rashid, I'm going to tell you something true. Rachel, the woman you remember, doesn't exist. She was a designation. Ghost 7. A weapon I designed and perfected over 2 decades. And the only reason you're alive is because that weapon malfunctioned. She didn't malfunction. She chose. Weapons don't choose. She did. Rashidi stepped into frame. Older now. Grayer. But the same cold intelligence in his eyes that Rachel remembered from 1,000 training sessions where failure meant pain and success meant survival. Then let's test that theory, Rashidi said. We're broadcasting this to a very specific audience. One person. And if that person truly chose to be human, truly walked away from what she was designed to be, then you'll die here. Because humans are selfish, Rashid. They prioritize their own safety, their own peace. They don't risk everything for children they saved 6 years ago. He smiled. But if she comes, if Ghost 7 answers this call, then I'll have proven my point. The weapon doesn't choose. It simply responds to the correct stimuli. The video ended. Rachel threw her phone across the room. It hit the wall. Didn't break. Just clattered to the floor. She wanted to scream. wanted to put her fist through something. But operators didn't scream. Weapons didn't lose control. Except she wasn't supposed to be a weapon anymore. She pressed her palms against the counter. Breathed. Counted. 68 beats per minute now. Rising. She'd spent 6 years trying to be human. Trying to feel things normal people felt. Trying to want things normal people wanted. And the sick truth was Rashidi was right. She wasn't coming back, because she'd chosen to be human. She was coming back because the weapon inside her recognized a threat and responded. Exactly as programmed. Her phone buzzed from the floor. She picked it up. Reeves again. "We're here." Rachel grabbed the duffel bag, walked out of the apartment without looking back. She'd paid 6 months' rent in advance. Didn't matter. She wouldn't be coming back. One way or another, Rachel Torres was done. The airfield was exactly as she remembered, cracked tarmac, rusted hangar, the kind of place drug runners used when they needed to move product without paperwork. Tonight, it hosted 6 Navy SEALs and 1 retired admiral preparing for an operation that would get them all court-martialed if anyone found out. Rachel parked her car, a 15-year-old Honda that had never gotten a ticket, never been in an accident, perfectly invisible, and walked toward the hangar. Reeves saw her first. Did a double take. Torres. She'd changed, not just clothes. Everything. The way she walked, the way she held her shoulders, the way she scanned the perimeter, automatically cataloging exits and threats. Ghost 7, she corrected. "If we're doing this, use the right name. Rachel Torres stays here." Chen whistled low. "Damn, you even sound different." "Because I am different." Rachel dropped the duffel bag. "The woman you met at the bar, that was a performance. 6 years of pretending to be someone I'm not. This is what's underneath." Morrison stepped forward. His wrist was wrapped. "Look about earlier." "Doesn't matter now." Rachel cut him off. "You apologized. I noted it. But if you're coming with me, you need to understand something. I'm not doing this to save you. I'm not doing this to prove anything to you. I'm doing this because 43 children are in the same hell I survived, and one of them is a boy I gave up everything to protect. You can help, or you can leave. But either way, I'm going." "We're helping," Reeves said firmly. The other SEALs nodded. The Admiral emerged from the hangar. Behind him, a man Rachel didn't recognize, tall, thin, wearing glasses, and carrying a laptop like it was a weapon. "This is Hayes," the Admiral said. "CIA. Technically doesn't exist. He's been tracking Rashidi for 3 years. Hayes set up the laptop on an old oil drum. "I've got eyes on the compound. Not great coverage. Rashidi's got military-grade jammers, but enough to give you an operational picture." He pulled up imagery. The tomb from above. Thermal signatures showing people moving underground. "We count approximately 70 heat signatures. 43 are small children. The rest are adults, probably guards and trainers. Rashidi's rebuilding the program exactly as it was." "Defenses?" Rachel asked. "External minimal. Couple of guard towers, perimeter sensors. Nothing a team like this can't bypass." Hayes zoomed in. "Internal." "That's where it gets ugly. The place is a maze. Biometric locks on every door. Kill zones built into the corridors. And according to the original blueprints, which I accessed through channels I won't discuss, there are contingency protocols." "What kind of contingencies?" Chen asked. Hayes looked at Rachel. "The self-destruct kind. If the facility is breached, Rashidi can trigger a complete lockdown, seal every door, flood specific chambers with gas, or worst case detonate charges that'll bring the whole thing down. He'd kill the children." Morrison sounded shocked. "He'd kill everyone," Rachel said. "If he can't have his perfect weapons, no one can. That's how he thinks." Reeves studied the imagery. "So we can't just breach and clear. We need someone inside first. Someone who can disable the contingencies before we hit. Everyone looked at Rachel. She nodded. I'll go in alone, front door, while you create a distraction on the west side. That's suicide. No, that's exactly what Rashidi wants. He's not trying to kill me. He's trying to prove I'm still what he made me. So I walk in, let him think he's won, and while he's gloating, you get the children out. And if he triggers the lockdown anyway, then I stop him. How? Rachel met Reeves' eyes. However I have to. The silence stretched. Then the Admiral spoke. There's one more thing you need to know. He pulled out a tablet. I didn't want to show you this, but you're going to find out anyway, and it's better you're prepared. He turned the screen toward Rachel. Personnel file, Project Reaper, asset roster, Rachel's photo. Younger, harder, eyes that had never seen anything but violence, and below it, asset status active. That's wrong, Rachel said. I've been out for 6 years. Officially, you were terminated in Damascus. Body never recovered. The Admiral scrolled down. Unofficially, there's a flag on your file, placed there 3 weeks ago. Someone with high-level access reactivated your status. Who? I don't know. But whoever it was had authorization I can't trace, which means this goes higher than Project Reaper, higher than Rashidi. The Admiral looked grim. Someone in Washington wants you back in play, and they're using Rashidi and these children as bait. Rachel's hands clenched. Then they're going to be disappointed. Are they? The Admiral's question hung heavy. Because here you are, exactly where they wanted you. Exactly when they wanted you there. I'm not doing this for them. I know, but that doesn't change what it is. The Admiral set down the tablet. You're being manipulated, Rachel. By Rashidi. By whoever reactivated you. By your own programming. And the question you need to ask yourself is, can you complete this mission and still be the person you chose to become? Rachel stared at the tablet. At her photo. At the designation that had defined her childhood and haunted her for 6 years. Ghost 7. I don't know, she said finally. But I'm going to find out. Bai Chen stepped forward. Then you're not going alone. I have to. If he sees a team, he'll trigger the lockdown immediately. Not a team, just me. Chen's voice was steady. You need someone to watch your 6. Someone who can provide overwatch while you're inside. I'm that someone. Why? Because I put my boot on your hand and called you Deadweight while a room full of people filmed it. Chen's jaw tightened. Because I spent my entire career trying to prove I belong in a community that fights me every day. And because when I had the chance to show what real strength looks like, I chose cruelty instead. So yeah, I'm coming. And you're not stopping me. Rachel studied her. Saw the guilt. Saw the determination. Saw something else, the same thing she'd seen in her own mirror 30 minutes ago. Someone trying to figure out who they really were. Fine, but you follow my lead. No improvising. No heroics. We get and disable the contingencies and signal the team. Understood? Yes, ma'am? Don't call me ma'am. I'm not an officer. What should I call you? Rachel considered. Ghost. Just Ghost. Morrison pulled out tactical gear. We've got vests, comms, weapons, standard loadout. Rachel shook her head. Vests are too bulky for the corridors. Comms will get jammed the second we're underground. And I'll use my own weapon. She opened her duffel bag, pulled out the knife. Morrison stared. That's it. You're going into a hostile facility with just a knife. I built my reputation with this knife. Rachel tested the edge, still sharp. Besides, Rashidi will expect me to be armed. He'll have protocols for disarming intruders. But a knife? She smiled. No warmth in it. A knife is intimate, personal. He won't see it coming. Reeves ran them through the tactical plan. Approach vectors, timing, extraction protocols. Rachel listened with half her attention. The other half was already there, walking the corridors of the tomb, remembering which doors led where, which rooms had cameras, which corners hid surprises. She'd sworn she'd never go back. But some promises were meant to be broken. Hayes interrupted. I've got movement. 3 vehicles approaching your position. Military configuration. ETA 4 minutes. Friendlies, Reeves asked. Negative. Unknown affiliation. They're not transmitting IFF codes. The Admiral cursed. They found us faster than I expected. Must be the same people who reactivated Rachel's file. Options, Chen asked. 2. Rachel was already moving, repacking her gear. Fight and blow the whole operation, or run and stick to the plan. There's no time to run, Morrison said. They'll be here in 2 minutes now, Hayes said. They're speeding up. Rachel zipped the duffel bag, looked at Reeves. Your team can handle 3 vehicles. 6 operators against unknown numbers. Reeves smiled. Hard. Yeah, we can handle it. Then handle it. Chen and I leave now. You catch up when you're done. And if we don't finish in time, then we do this without you. Rachel turned to the Admiral. Send me everything on your secure channel. Building schematics, guard rotations, anything that helps. Already in motion. Good. Rachel grabbed Chen's arm. Come on. They ran for the perimeter fence. Behind them, engines roared. Headlights swept across the tarmac. Chen vaulted the fence. Rachel followed. They hit the ground on the other side and kept running, disappearing into the scrub brush beyond the airfield. Gunfire erupted behind them. Automatic weapons. Return fire from the SEALs. Chen looked back. Rachel grabbed her shoulder. Don't. They're professionals. They'll be fine. How do you know? Because if they're not, 43 children die, and I refuse to accept that outcome. They ran for 10 minutes. Hard sprint. Chen's breathing got ragged. Rachel's stayed controlled. They stopped at a dried riverbed. Rachel pulled out her phone, checked the GPS. 5 miles to the rendezvous point, she said. There's a vehicle waiting. Then it's 8 hours to the Syrian border. 8 hours. Chen gulped air. That's barely enough time. Which is why we're not stopping. Rachel started moving again. Come on. Chen followed. Had no choice. They reached the vehicle, another anonymous sedan, keys under the visor, and drove. Rachel pushed it hard. Chen white-knuckled the door handle. You always drive like this. Only when children's lives are on the line. How do you do it? Chen asked. Stay so calm. Training, 12 hours a day for 8 years. They taught us to regulate everything, heartbeat, breathing, emotional response. Fear is just chemical signals. You can override them if you know how. That sounds awful. It was. Rachel took a corner fast. The car fishtailed. She corrected smoothly. But it kept me alive. That Chen was quiet for a moment. Then, I'm sorry. For everything at the bar. I was being human, Rachel finished. Humans are tribal. They identify threats. They respond with aggression to protect their status. It's normal. You don't talk like someone who thinks they're human. Because I don't know if I am. Rachel's hands tightened on the wheel. That's what this is really about. Rashidi thinks I'm still a weapon. The Admiral thinks I chose to be human. And me, I think maybe I'm something in between. Something that doesn't have a name yet. And if Rashidi's right, if you're still just responding to programming. Rachel was quiet for a long time. Then at least 43 children go free. And maybe that's enough. Maybe the why doesn't matter as much as the what. Chen nodded. didn't look convinced, but didn't argue. They drove through the night. Rachel's phone buzzed twice. First message from Hayes. Hostiles neutralized. Team en route. And second message from the Admiral. Updated intel attached. God help you both. Rachel opened the attachment. Read it while driving. Her face didn't change, but her knuckles went white. What is it? Chen asked. Rashidi's not just rebuilding the program. He's improving it. Enhanced interrogation protocols, new neurological conditioning techniques, and Rachel's voice went flat. He's testing them on Rashid first, before the other children. Because Rashid knows me, and Rashidi wants to understand what made me choose differently. Jesus. He's torturing him, breaking him down, trying to map the exact moment I diverged from my programming. Rachel's foot pressed harder on the accelerator, so he can make sure the next generation doesn't make the same mistake. How long does Rashid have? Based on these protocols, maybe 48 hours before permanent psychological damage, maybe less. He's already been in there for 6 hours. The math was brutal. They had 42 hours to reach the compound breach. It disable the contingencies, extract 43 children, and kill Rashidi. And Rachel had spent 6 years pretending to be normal. She pushed the car faster. Chen pulled out her phone, started reviewing the tactical data the Admiral sent. The west entrance is our best bet. 2 guards, biometric scanner. But if you can get through, I can't. What? They'll have updated the biometric database, removed my access, changed the protocols. Rachel took another corner hard. But there's another entrance, one that's not on the official schematics. How do you know? Because I built it. Rachel's smile was cold. When I was 12, I found a structural weakness, a maintenance shaft that connected to the old water system. I hid it, never told anyone, kept it as an emergency exit. And you think it's still there? Only one way to find out. They drove on. The sky began to lighten. Dawn was coming, and with it everything Rachel had tried to escape for 6 years. The weapon was awake now, fully awake, and it remembered exactly how to kill. The Syrian border came up faster than Chen expected. One moment they were driving through empty desert, the next Rachel was cutting the engine and coasting into a dried wadi where Reeves and his team waited with supplies and a look that said they'd seen things on the way here. Status, Rachel asked, stepping out of the car. 3 confirmed kills at the airfield, 2 prisoners for interrogation. Reeves handed her tactical gear. Hayes is monitoring satellite feeds. Admiral's running interference back home. We've got a 12-hour window before someone notices we're off the reservation. Won't need 12 hours. Rachel stripped off her jacket and pulled on the tactical shirt. No vest. Just lightweight gear that wouldn't slow her down. Rashidi knows I'm coming. He's been counting down since I made that phone call. Morrison looked at the horizon where heat shimmers made the air dance. Compound's 15 miles northeast. We approach on foot, stay below the ridgeline, should be able to get within half a mile before they spot us. They've already spotted us. Rachel checked her knife, slid it into the sheath at her hip. Rashidi has drones. Probably picked us up the second we crossed the border. He's just letting us come. That doesn't bother you? Chen asked. It's what I'd do. Rachel pulled her hair back, secured it tight. Let the target think they have the advantage. Let them commit to the approach. Then spring the trap when they're too far in to back out. Reeves frowned. So we're walking into a trap? No, I'm walking into a trap. You're providing overwatch and extraction. Rachel pulled out her phone, brought up the compound schematics. The maintenance shaft I mentioned, it's here on the east side. There's a dry stream bed that runs close. I can use it for cover, reach the entrance without being seen from the guard towers. Assuming it's still there, Morrison said. Assuming it's still there, Rachel agreed. If it's not, I go to plan B, which is, Walk through the front door and kill everyone between me and Rashid." The SEALs exchanged looks. Chen spoke first. "That's not a plan. That's suicide with extra steps." "Maybe, but it's what Rashidi expects. Ghost 7 doesn't sneak. Ghost 7 dominates." Rachel's eyes were cold now, flat. "He trained me to be overwhelming, to make the enemy believe resistance is futile. So if the maintenance shaft is gone, I give him what he expects." "Until you're dead," Chen said. "Until the children are safe," Rachel corrected. "My survival is secondary." Reeves stepped closer. "Listen to me. I've run ops in 40 countries. I've seen good operators die because they thought the mission was more important than getting out alive. And you know what? The mission failed anyway, because martyrs can't complete objectives. I'm not trying to be a martyr." "Then stop talking like one." Reeves's voice went hard. "You want to save those kids, fine. We're with you. But you don't get to make decisions that waste your life. Because your life matters too, whether Rashidi taught you that or not." Rachel stared at him. Something flickered behind her eyes. Old programming warring with new understanding. "He's right," Chen said quietly. "You told me at the bar that you chose to be human. Humans value their own lives. Weapons don't. So which one are you?" The question hit harder than Rachel wanted to admit. She looked at the phone in her hand, at the compound layout, at the maze of corridors she'd memorized as a child. "I don't know yet," she said finally. "Ask me again when this is over." She pocketed the phone and started walking. The team fell in behind her. They moved fast across the desert. Rachel set the pace hard, but sustainable. The SEALs kept up, but Rachel could feel the difference. They were good, elite even, but they'd been trained for weeks or months. She'd been made for this over years. Every footfall was silent, every breath controlled, every sense extended, cataloging threats, calculating angles, preparing for violence that hadn't happened yet but would. Chen moved up beside her. "How far?" 2 miles. "You're not even breathing hard." "Cardiovascular conditioning. They started us at age 7. 10-mile runs before breakfast. If you fell behind, you didn't eat." "That's barbaric." "That's effective." Rachel's voice was flat. "Barbaric implies cruelty for its own sake. Everything they did to us had a purpose. Make the body efficient. Make the mind resilient. Make the whole system capable of things normal humans can't sustain." "You say they like you weren't part of it." "I wasn't. Not really. I was the raw material. They were the engineers." Rachel slowed, dropped to a crouch. The team followed. "Contact. 300 yards. 2 figures. Looks like a patrol." Reeves pulled out binoculars. "Confirmed. Armed, standard sweep pattern. They'll pass within 50 yards of our position in about 90 seconds. "Let them pass, or engage." Morrison had his rifle up, finger resting on the guard. Rachel closed her eyes, counted heartbeats, calculated trajectories, opened her eyes. "Engage." Silenced shots. "They're transmitting position data via helmet cam. If we let them pass and they spot our tracks, Rashidi gets real-time intel on our approach." "How do you know they're transmitting?" "Because it's what I'd do. Rashidi doesn't leave things to chance." Reeves gave the signal. 2 shots, almost simultaneous. Both targets dropped. "Move," Rachel said. "We've got maybe 10 minutes before they miss a check-in." They ran. The compound came into view, low buildings, half buried in sand guard towers. On each corner, satellite dishes and antenna arrays that looked too sophisticated for the middle of nowhere. Rachel led them to the stream bed she'd mentioned. It was narrower than she remembered, eroded by years of flash floods that came once a decade and reshaped everything. "Chen, you're with me. Rest of you position here. When you hear the explosion, that's your signal. Come in through the west entrance hard and fast. Extraction protocol is 30 minutes. If we're not out by then..." "We'll be out," Reeves said. "If we're not," Rachel continued, "you leave. Get the intel Hayes needs to shut down Rashidi's network. Don't waste the sacrifice." Nobody's sacrificing 30 minutes, Gunny. Rachel looked at Chen. Ready? No, but I'm coming anyway. They moved down the stream bed. Rocks and sand muffled their footsteps. The sun was up now, heat building the kind that made mistakes fatal, because dehydration killed faster than bullets in the desert. Rachel stopped, held up a fist. Chen froze. Ahead, where the stream bed curved, Rachel saw what she'd been looking for, a metal grate half buried in sand. The maintenance shaft entrance. Still there after all these years. She crept forward, examined the grate. No rust. The metal was new. They found it, she whispered. Reinforced it, probably trapped it too. So plan B. Not yet. Rachel ran her fingers along the grate's edge, found a hairline gap. There's a bypass. I built it when I was 12 in case they ever discovered the shaft. They reinforced the obvious entrance but missed the secondary. She pushed aside sand, revealing a smaller opening, barely wide enough for a person. You knew they'd find it, Chen said. You planned for that. I planned for everything. That's what survival meant. Rachel squeezed through the opening. Chen followed. Inside was darkness and the smell of concrete and old fear. Rachel pulled out a small flashlight. The beam revealed a vertical shaft with ladder rungs bolted to the wall. Down, Rachel said. 40 feet. Don't slip. The bottom's concrete. They climbed down. Rachel's hands found each rung automatically muscle memory from 1,000 training runs through these same tunnels. At the bottom, a narrow corridor stretched in both directions. Rachel oriented herself. Left goes to the barracks. Right goes to the command center. We go right. That's where Rashidi will be, and where he'll keep Rashid. How do you know? Because he wants me to find them. Wants me to see what he's done. Wants to prove his point. Rachel started moving. Stay close. Stay quiet. If we encounter guards, I handle them. You don't engage unless I'm down. Understood? Understood. They moved through the corridor. Emergency lights cast red shadows. Rachel's breathing stayed controlled. 52 beats per minute. The weapon was fully awake now, operating on instinct and training that had been burned into her nervous system. The first door they passed was locked. Rachel kept moving. The second door was open. She glanced inside, empty room chairs bolted to the floor, stress positions she remembered too well. Third door, locked. But Rachel heard something. Breathing. Multiple sources. She tried the handle. Biometric lock. She pulled out her knife, wedged it into the lock mechanism, twisted. Something inside broke. The door clicked open. Inside, 12 children. Ages 7 to 15. Chained to the walls. Terrified. Chen gasped. Rachel held up a hand. Silence. She approached the nearest child, a girl maybe 9, with eyes that had already seen too much. I'm Rachel, she whispered. I'm getting you out, but I need you to be quiet. Can you do that? The girl nodded. Rachel worked fast, picking the locks on the chains with tools she'd carried in her pocket. The chains fell away. The children started to move to speak. Not yet, Rachel said. There are more of you here. I'm going to find them. Then we all leave together. But right now you stay here. Stay quiet. And when you hear an explosion, you run. Follow the corridor left up the ladder through the tunnel. There are people waiting outside. They'll help you. What about you? The girl asked. I have to find someone first. Chen was already checking the children for injuries. 2 are dehydrated. 1 has a broken finger. They need medical attention. They'll get it. 30 minutes. Rachel looked at her watch. 28 now. They left the room, closing the door behind them. Moved deeper into the compound. More corridors, more doors, more children behind each one. Rachel marked each location, mentally plotting the fastest extraction route. Then they reached the command center. The door was open. Lights on inside. An invitation. Rachel stopped, felt Chen tense behind her. "This is it," Rachel said. "Rashidi's inside. Probably Rashid too, and probably a dozen guards. Odds suck. Always do." Rachel pulled out her knife. "When I go in, you fall back. Get to the children. Start the extraction." "What? No. I'm not leaving you. You're not leaving me. You're completing the mission." Rachel's voice was cold, clinical. "The children are what matter. I'm just the weapon that gets them out." "You're not a weapon. You're a person." "Maybe. But right now I need to be what Rashidi made me." Rachel looked at Chen. Really looked at her. "Thank you. For coming. For caring. For reminding me that humans don't have to be cruel to be strong." "Rachel, go." Rachel stepped through the door before Chen could argue. The command center was exactly as she remembered. Banks of monitors, tactical displays, and in the center, sitting at a desk like he was conducting a graduate seminar, Dr. Khalid al-Rashidi. He looked up, smiled. "Ghost 7, welcome home." Rachel scanned the room. 4 guards in tactical gear positioned at corners. Rashid chained to a chair in front of Rashidi's desk. Alive. Bruised. But his eyes were clear. Defiant. "Let him go," Rachel said. "Eventually. But first we talk." Rashidi gestured to an empty chair. "Please, sit." "I'll stand." "Suit yourself." Rashidi leaned back. "I've waited 6 years for this conversation. 6 years wondering if my greatest creation truly broke free, or if she was simply executing a deeper protocol I'd failed to recognize. I'm not your creation. Of course you are. Every reflex, every skill, every decision you make is a result of the conditioning I designed. You can't escape that any more than you can escape your own nervous system. I saved Rashid. That wasn't programming. Wasn't it? Rashidi pulled up a file on his computer. I've analyzed that mission 1,000 times. You were ordered to eliminate witnesses. Instead, you extracted them. Why? Because they were children. Incorrect. You'd eliminated child witnesses before. Target in Kabul 2017. Target in Aleppo 2018. Both times you followed orders precisely. Rashidi's eyes gleamed. So what was different about Rashid and his sister? Rachel didn't answer. Couldn't answer. Because she didn't know. I'll tell you what was different, Rashidi continued. Rashid resisted, fought back, reminded you of yourself at that age. And that triggered a subroutine I'd embedded but never activated empathy through mirror recognition. You saved him because seeing him in pain activated your own trauma response. It wasn't choice, Ghost 7. It was programming. You're wrong. Am I? Then why are you here? Rashidi stood, walked around the desk. You received a message about Rashid's capture. Your response was immediate, predictable, exactly what I calculated. He smiled. You're still following your programming. You just don't realize it. Rachel's hand tightened on her knife. The guards shifted hands, moving toward weapons. Rashid spoke for the first time. Voice rough. He's trying to get in your head, Rachel. Don't let him. Rashidi backhanded Rashid across the face. The boy's head snapped to the side. Rachel moved. Didn't think. Just moved. She crossed the distance in 3 steps, knife coming up in an arc that would have opened Rashidi's throat if the guard hadn't intercepted. She twisted, used the guard's momentum against him, sent him stumbling into the desk. 2 more guards closed in. Rachel dropped low, swept the first one's leg, drove her elbow into the second one's solar plexus. Both went down. The fourth guard had his weapon out now, aimed at Rachel's head. "Stop," Rashidi said calmly, "or the boy dies." He had a knife at Rashid's throat. Rachel froze. "There it is," Rashidi said. "The programming. The hard stop. I built in protocols to prevent you from completing certain actions if they resulted in collateral damage to specified individuals. Rashid is now specified, so you can't kill me while he's at risk." Rachel's breathing was steady, 52 beats per minute. But her mind was racing. He was right. She couldn't move without risking Rashid. The programming held. "Or did it? You made a mistake," Rachel said quietly. "Oh, you taught me to think like you, to analyze, to find weaknesses." Rachel shifted her weight slightly. "And your weakness is that you believe your own theory. You think you've accounted for every variable." "I have." "No. You've accounted for what Ghost 7 would do. The weapon. The asset. The thing you built." Rachel met his eyes. "But 6 years ago something changed. Maybe it was programming. Maybe it was choice. I don't know. But I became something you never planned for." "And what's that unpredictable?" Rachel threw the knife, not at Rashidi, at the light fixture above him. The blade severed the power cable. Sparks showered down. The lights went out. Emergency backup kicked in 2 seconds later, but 2 seconds was enough. Rachel had already moved. Grabbed the guard's weapon arm, twisted it, fired 3 shots into the ceiling, the signal for extraction, then used the guard as a shield as the other 2 opened fire. Rashidi was shouting. Rashid was fighting against his chains. The room was chaos. Rachel dropped the guard rolled, came up next to Rashid's chair. She grabbed the chains, pulled. The bolts holding the chair to the floor were old. They gave. "Run!" Rachel shoved Rashid toward the door. He ran. Rachel turned to face Rashidi. The doctor had a gun now, pointed at her. His hand was steady. "You've proven my point," he said. "Everything you just did, the tactical assessment, the improvisation, the violence, and all programming." "Maybe," Rachel said. "But I chose to use it for him. Not for you. Not for the program, for a boy I barely know because he deserved a chance I never got." She smiled. No warmth in it. "So if that's programming, then you built better than you thought. You built something that could choose what to become." Rashidi's finger tightened on the trigger. The door exploded inward. Reeves and his team poured through, weapons up. "Drop it!" Reeves shouted. Rashidi dropped the gun. Slowly, never taking his eyes off Rachel. "This isn't over," he said. "Yeah," Rachel said. "It is." She walked past him without looking back. In the corridor, Chen had gathered the children. 43 faces, all terrified, all looking to Rachel for answers. "We're leaving," Rachel said. "All of us. Right now." "The other rooms," Chen started. "All clear, this is everyone." Rachel took point. "Follow me. Stay together. Don't stop. Don't look back." They moved as a group. Children who could walk helped those who couldn't. Rachel led them through corridors she'd memorized in childhood nightmares. Behind them, more explosions as Reeves's team destroyed the compound's infrastructure. They reached the vertical shaft. Rachel climbed up, first helped pull the children up one by one. Chen brought up the rear, making sure no one was left behind. Outside, dawn had given way to full morning. Helicopters appeared on the horizon, Hayes extraction right on time. Rashid stood next to Rachel, watching the children board the helicopters. His face was bruised, his wrists raw from the chains, but he was smiling. "You came," he said. "Of course I came." "He said you wouldn't," Said weapons don't feel loyalty. He was wrong about a lot of things. Rachel looked at him. Really looked at him. 16 now. Nearly a man, but still carrying that spark of hope she remembered from 6 years ago. You okay? I am now. Rashid paused. What he said in there, about programming, do you think he was right? Rachel was quiet for a moment. Then, I don't know. Maybe I am still following programming. Maybe everything I do is just complex biological machinery running algorithms I don't understand. She met his eyes. But if that's true, then everyone is. And if everyone is, then maybe the programming isn't what matters. Maybe what matters is what we do with it. Rashid nodded. Smiled. That sounds like something a person would say, not a weapon. Maybe. The last helicopter landed. Reeves jogged over. Compound secure. Hayes has teams inbound to document everything. Rashidi's in custody. He looked at Rachel. You did it. We did it. Bullshit, you did it. We just helped. Reeves held out his hand. Thank you. For letting us be part of this. For showing us what real strength looks like. Rachel shook his hand. Felt the weight of the gesture. Humans shook hands. Weapons didn't. Load up, she said. Let's go home. They boarded the last helicopter. As it lifted off, Rachel looked down at the compound, at the place that had shaped her childhood and haunted her adult life. Smoke rose from the destroyed sections. Soldiers swarmed through the remainder, gathering evidence, processing the scene. It was over. The tomb was dead. And for the first time in 6 years, Rachel felt something she hadn't expected. Relief. The helicopter banked, headed west, toward extraction, toward safety, toward whatever came next. Chen sat across from Rachel. What happens now? Rachel looked at the children, at Rashid, at the SEALs who'd risked everything for people they didn't know. Now, Rachel said, we figure out how to be human. You don't know, no, but I'm willing to learn. Rachel smiled, genuine this time. And that's something right weapons don't learn. They just execute. Then you're not a weapon. Maybe not. Rachel closed her eyes, let herself feel the exhaustion, the fear, the hope. All the things she'd spent 6 years trying to feel and never quite managing. Or maybe I'm a weapon that chose to become something else, and maybe that's enough. The helicopter flew on, carrying 43 children toward freedom, carrying Rachel toward whatever came next. Behind them, the tomb burned, and Ghost 7 finally began to die. The helicopter hadn't even touched down at the extraction point when Rachel's phone buzzed. Encrypted message. Hayes. We have a problem. Rachel read the message twice. Her jaw tightened. She looked at Reeves, who was checking on the children, making sure everyone was accounted for. Gunny, we need to talk. Something in her voice made him stop. He came over, crouched next to her seat. What's wrong? Rashidi's gone. What do you mean, gone? Your team had him in custody. Had. Past tense. Rachel showed him the phone. 3 minutes after we lifted off, armed personnel stormed the compound, killed 2 of Hayes' men, took Rashidi. No trace. Reeves went pale. Who? Hayes is trying to find out. But whoever they are, they had real-time intel on our extraction. They knew exactly when we'd be vulnerable. Rachel's hands clenched. Someone inside our chain of command is working with Rashidi, or working with whoever wants him free. Chen leaned over. Could be the same people who reactivated your file. Has to be. This is coordinated. Professional. Rachel pulled up the tactical data Hayes sent. They used military protocols, American protocols. This wasn't some random extraction team. This was sanctioned. Sanctioned by who? Morrison asked. The other SEALs were listening now, faces grim. Someone with enough authority to override a CIA operation and make it disappear. Rachel looked at the children. 43 faces that trusted her. Rashid sat with the younger ones, trying to comfort them. Someone who wants Project Reaper active again. The helicopter landed at a NATO facility in Turkey. Medical personnel swarmed aboard, starting triage on the children. Rachel watched them work, mind racing through possibilities. The Admiral was waiting on the tarmac. His face said everything Rachel needed to know. "You heard," she said. 30 seconds ago. Hayes is in damage control mode. CIA's trying to figure out how a secure operation got compromised." The Admiral pulled Rachel aside, away from the others. "We need to get you somewhere safe. If they took Rashidi, they're coming for you next. Let them come." "Rachel, no. Listen, Rashidi's out there, with whoever freed him. And they have the complete Project Reaper protocols, the training manuals, the conditioning techniques, everything needed to rebuild the program." Rachel's voice was ice. "We didn't end this today. We just delayed it. Then we need to be smart. Tactical. We fall back, regroup, gather intel, while they disappear into the black and restart operations." Rachel shook her head. "I've been running for 6 years, Admiral. I'm done running." "This isn't running. This is survival." "Is it because from where I'm standing, survival means letting them win? Letting them take what Rashidi built and use it on more children? And I can't—" Her voice cracked. First real break in her composure. "I can't let that happen. Not again." The Admiral studied her face, saw the exhaustion, the determination, the thing underneath that had been Ghost 7 and was now something else entirely. "What do you need?" he asked. "Hayes, his intel network, and 48 hours. To do what? Find them. End them. Make sure Project Reaper dies for real this time." Rachel looked at the children being loaded into ambulances. "And make sure those kids never have to look over their shoulders wondering if someone's coming to drag them back." The Admiral was quiet. Then he pulled out his phone. "I'll arrange it. But Rachel, you need to understand something. If you go after them, you're going after people who don't officially exist. People who can make you disappear. People who might be operating under orders that go all the way to the top. I know. And you're willing to risk that. I'm willing to end it, whatever it takes." The Admiral nodded slowly. "Then I hope you know what you're doing. Because once you start this, there's no coming back. I stopped being able to come back 6 years ago. I've just been pretending otherwise." Rachel turned to go, then stopped. "Take care of Rashid and the others. Make sure they get real help, not just medical, psychological, people who understand trauma, people who'll teach them they're not broken." "I will. I promise." Rachel walked back to where Reeves and his team waited. They were arguing in low voices but stopped when they saw her approach. "We're coming with you," Reeves said. "No question in it. This isn't your fight anymore. Mission's complete. Children are safe. You go home. Go. Negative." Reeves crossed his arms. "You think we're just going to walk away while you chase down whoever broke Rashidi out while they rebuild that nightmare? Not happening. You don't understand what you're volunteering for. These aren't insurgents or enemy combatants. These are Americans, probably government officials, probably people with medals and security clearances and families who think they're heroes." Rachel's voice was flat. "You come with me, you're not operators anymore. You're traitors, criminals. Everything you've built, everything you've earned, gone." Chen stepped forward. "You think we don't know that? You think we're stupid. I think you're good people who deserve better than throwing your lives away." "Maybe. But we're also people who put a boot on your hand and called you Deadweight while a crowd filmed it. Chen's voice was steady. We're people who've spent our entire careers talking about honor and sacrifice, and when we finally get a chance to prove we meant it, you think we're just going to walk away? Morrison nodded. She's right. This is bigger than careers. Bigger than us. Those kids you saved, they're going to have nightmares for years. And if we don't stop whoever's behind this, more kids will join them. So yeah, we're coming. Rachel looked at each of them, saw the determination, saw something else too, the same thing she'd been fighting for 6 years, the choice to be something other than what you were made to be. 48 hours, she said. After that, if we haven't found them, you're out. You go back to your lives, understood? Understood, Reeves said. What's the plan? Hayes is tracking the team that extracted Rashidi. They had vehicles probably military grade. Those vehicles need fuel maintenance parts. We find their logistics chain, we find them. That's a long shot. It's the only shot. Rachel pulled out her phone. Hayes sent me preliminary data. The extraction team used encrypted comms on a specific frequency. CIA monitors those frequencies. They've got 3 hours of intercepts from before the jammers kicked in. She showed them the data. Reeves whistled low. That's a lot of chatter. Most of it's noise, but buried in there, Rachel highlighted a section. There's a reference to package delivery and a location, grid coordinates, middle of the Mediterranean. A ship? Chen asked. Or a submarine, something mobile, somewhere they can operate without oversight. Rachel zoomed in on the coordinates. Hayes is running satellite retrograde now, looking for any vessels in that area around the time of extraction. Morrison frowned. Even if we find the ship, how do we reach it? We don't have naval assets. We don't have authorization. We're operating completely black. We have something better. Rachel smiled. Cold. We have me. We have, and I know how Rashidi thinks, where he'd go, what he'd need to restart the program. So we're just going to guess. No, we're going to force his hand. Rachel looked at Reeves. I need to make a call, a very public call, one that gets recorded and transmitted everywhere. To who? To Rashidi, and whoever freed him. Rachel's eyes were hard. I'm going to offer them exactly what they want. A trade. Me for the shutdown of Project Reaper. Complete surrender. The team stared at her. Chen spoke first. That's insane. They'll kill you. Maybe. Or maybe they'll think they've won, that they've reclaimed their greatest asset, and while they're celebrating while they're bringing me in. Rachel smiled. You're going to follow me? Track me. And when you have a lock on their location, you're going to burn it to the ground. Using you as bait, Reeves said. Using me as a weapon, which is what I am, what I've always been. The only difference is now I get to choose the target. They argued for 20 minutes. Rachel shut down every objection with cold logic. Finally, Reeves threw up his hands. Fine, but we're not waiting for you to get killed before we move. First sign of trouble, we're coming in. Fair enough? Hayes arrived with equipment, secure phones, tracking devices, and a satellite uplink that would broadcast Rachel's message worldwide. They set up in an empty hangar away from the main facility. Rachel stood in front of the camera. Behind her, nothing but concrete and shadows. She looked directly into the lens. My name is Rachel Torres. Designation Ghost 7. Serial number 7724 Alpha Reaper. I am the last confirmed survivor of Project Reaper, a covert program designed to create enhanced operatives through childhood conditioning and trauma-based training. Her voice was steady, clinical. 6 years ago, I went AWOL. I faked my death and attempted to live a normal life. Today, I participated in an unauthorized operation that resulted in the rescue of 43 children and the temporary capture of Project Reaper's architect, Dr. Khalid al-Rashidi. She paused. Let the words sink in. I know you're watching this. Whoever freed Rashidi, whoever wants the program restarted, I know you're looking for me. So I'm going to make this simple. Rachel's eyes were cold. I'm offering a trade, myself for a guarantee. Shut down Project Reaper. Destroy the protocols. Release all remaining files to public oversight. Do this and I'll surrender. I'll submit to whatever evaluation, custody, or termination you deem appropriate. Another pause. You have 24 hours to respond. After that, I disappear. And I promise you if I'm hunting you instead of surrendering to you, you won't see me coming. None of you will. Rachel leaned forward slightly. I was trained by the best. I am the best. And if you force me to become the weapon again, I will dismantle everything you've built, everyone you've protected, everything you think is safe. She reached forward. The transmission ended. Hayes shut down the equipment. That should do it. Broadcasting on every intelligence channel. They'll see it. How long before we get a response? Chen asked. If they're smart, never. They'll ignore it and go dark. Hayes packed up the gear. If they're arrogant, couple hours. They'll think they can control the situation. They're arrogant, Rachel said. Rashidi trained them to think they're untouchable, that they're smarter than everyone else. They'll respond. She was right. 3 hours later, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Text message. Offer accepted. Grid coordinates attached. Come alone, unarmed. Any deviation results in immediate termination of negotiations. Rachel showed the team. Reeves pulled up the coordinates on a tactical map. That's international waters, 40 miles off the coast of Cyprus. Nothing out there but open ocean. Perfect place for a ship, Morrison said. Or a trap, Chen added. Both, Rachel said. Definitely both. But it doesn't matter. This is our only lead. Hayes pulled up satellite imagery. I've got a vessel in that area, registered as a commercial cargo ship, but it's not transmitting AIS data, and it's holding position instead of moving. That's your target. How do we get there? Reeves asked. Officially, you don't. That ship's in international waters. No jurisdiction, no legal authority to board. Hayes smiled. Unofficially, I've got a contact who runs a charter service. Very discreet, very expensive, and very willing to look the other way when his clients conduct business he doesn't want to know about. How fast can he get us there? 6 hours, maybe 5 if he pushes the engines. Rachel checked her watch. That gives me 18 hours before the deadline. I'll take a helicopter, get there faster. You follow by boat. Stay out of radar range until I give the signal. What signal? Chen asked. You'll know it when you see it. Rachel grabbed her gear. If something goes wrong, if they kill me or take me off that ship you call in an airstrike, burn it all. Don't let them leave with Rashidi's protocols. And if you're still on the ship, Rachel met Chen's eyes, then you burn it anyway. The mission is bigger than me, always has been. They loaded into vehicles. Rachel took a helicopter with Hayes. The SEAL team headed for the docks where their charter waited. In the helicopter, Hayes pulled out a small case. Inside a syringe and a vial. What's that? Rachel asked. Insurance. Tracking nanites suspended in saline. Inject them and they'll spread through your bloodstream. We'll be able to track you anywhere on the planet for about 72 hours before your body breaks them down. That's experimental tech. So are you. Hayes held out the syringe. Your choice. But if they take you somewhere we can't follow, this is our only way to find you. Rachel took the syringe, rolled up her sleeve, injected it into her forearm. The liquid burned going in. How long before they're active? 20 minutes. After that, you're live. Hayes pulled up his laptop, showed her a tracking display. A red dot appeared, pulsing steadily. That's you. I've got eyes on you now. The helicopter flew through the night. Rachel watched the lights below fade to darkness as they moved out over open water. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. Helicopter approach detected. Good. Shows commitment. Land on the aft deck. Come to the bridge. Don't keep us waiting. Rachel showed Hayes the message. He nodded. I'll drop you and pull back. Stay at the edge of radar range. When your team gets close, I'll coordinate the assault. If it comes to that. It's going to come to that, Rachel. You know it is. These people didn't extract Rashidi to negotiate. They extracted him to use him. I know, but I had to try. Had to give them a chance to do the right thing. Why? Rachel was quiet. Then, because if I don't try, if I just go in as the weapon and kill everyone, then Rashidi was right. I'm still just executing programming. But if I offer them a choice, if I try to be human first and warrior second... She stopped. Maybe that's enough. Maybe that proves something. Or maybe it gets you killed. Maybe. But at least I'll die as Rachel Torres, not Ghost 7. The helicopter descended. The ship came into view, a massive cargo vessel, deck lights blazing. Rachel could see figures moving on the deck. Armed. Professional. Hayes landed on the aft deck. Rachel jumped out, no gear, no weapons, exactly as instructed. The helicopter lifted immediately, banking away into darkness. Rachel stood on the deck. 6 guards approached, weapons trained on her. The lead guard, young military, bearing cold eyes, gestured with his rifle. Arms out. Turn around. Rachel complied. They searched her. Found nothing because there was nothing to find. The knife was back with Reeves. The tracking nanites were invisible. She's clean. Then take her to the bridge. The director's waiting. They walked her through the ship. Rachel cataloged everything. Guard positions, weapon types, escape routes, old habits dying hard. The bridge was at the top of the superstructure. They opened the door and pushed Rachel inside. 2 people waited. The first was Rashidi, looking pleased with himself. The second was a woman Rachel didn't recognize, 50's expensive suit, the kind of face that appeared in classified briefings and congressional hearings. Ghost 7, the woman said. Thank you for coming. I'm Director Sarah Kensington, CIA Special Activities Division. And before you say anything, yes, I'm the one who reactivated your file. Yes, I'm the one who extracted Dr. Rashidi. And yes, I'm the one who's going to restart Project Reaper. Rachel's face stayed neutral. Why? Because the world is getting more dangerous. Because our enemies are developing capabilities we can't counter with conventional assets. Because we need operators who can do what others can't, who can go where others won't, who can make the hard choices without hesitation. Kensington walked toward Rachel. In other words, we need you, and more like you. I'm not going back. You don't have a choice. You surrendered. Remember, you're CIA property now. Always were, technically. You just forgot for a while. Kensington smiled. But we're going to remind you. Dr. Rashidi has developed new protocols, faster conditioning, better psychological integration, and you're going to be our test case. Rachel's heartbeat was still 52. And if I refuse, then the 43 children you rescued, they become test subjects instead, starting with Rashid. Kensington pulled out a tablet, showed Rachel a live feed. Rashid, in a medical facility, sedated, surrounded by equipment. 1 word from me, and we begin the conditioning process. Within 6 months, he'll be everything you are, everything you were, and unlike you, he won't have the luxury of choice. Rachel's hands clenched. You're bluffing. Am I? Because I have authorization from 3 different oversight committees to restart this program. I have funding from black budgets that don't exist. I have facilities in 6 countries where we can operate without interference. And I have Dr. Rashidi, who's promised me he can create 20 new assets within 2 years. Kensington leaned closer. So no Ghost 7. I'm not bluffing. I'm offering you the only choice you have left: cooperate and the children go free. Resist, and they become what you are. Rachel looked at Rashidi. He was smiling, satisfied. He'd won, or he thought he had. I have a counteroffer, Rachel said. I'm listening. You let the children go. Shut down any surveillance on them. Give them real lives, real futures. Do that and I'll cooperate. I'll submit to the conditioning. I'll become whatever asset you need. Kensington considered. And why should I trust you? Because I'm giving you exactly what you want. The perfect weapon. No resistance. Full cooperation. All I'm asking in return is that you leave the children alone. Leaving aside the fact that you're in no position to negotiate why the sudden cooperation 10 minutes ago you were threatening to dismantle everything we've built. Because I'm tired, Rachel said. And it was true. She was tired. 6 years of running. 6 years of pretending. 6 years of trying to be something she wasn't sure she could be. I'm tired of fighting. Tired of hiding. Tired of pretending I'm not what Rashidi made me. So if you're going to use me anyway, if you're going to make me into a weapon anyway. She looked at Rashidi. At least let me know it wasn't for nothing. That the children get to be free. Rashidi laughed. You see, I told you. The programming holds. She can't escape what she is. Can't even imagine escape anymore. She's accepted her nature. Perhaps, Kensington studied Rachel. Or perhaps she's planning something. Buying time for a rescue team. Or thinking she can break free once we're underway. I'm not. Rachel's voice was empty, defeated. I'm just tired. And if this is who I am, then I might as well stop fighting it. Kensington nodded slowly. All right, I'll accept your offer. The children go free. No surveillance, no interference. And in exchange you submit to full reconditioning. You become Ghost 7 again. Permanently. Agreed. Good. Dr. Rashidi, begin the intake process. Rashidi pulled out a medical kit. This will be easier if you don't resist. I won't, Rachel said. And she didn't. She let him strap her into a chair. Let him attach monitoring equipment. Let him prepare the first injection sedatives probably, or maybe the beginning of the new conditioning protocols he'd developed. The needle touched her arm, and Rachel smiled. Because 40 miles away, Hayes was watching a red dot on his screen, watching it hold position on a ship that was about to become a grave. Because 5 miles away, a fast boat carrying 6 Navy SEALs was closing in, running dark weapons ready. Because in her bloodstream, tracking nanites were broadcasting her position to anyone who knew how to listen. And because Ghost 7 had never, not once in 23 years, stopped being 3 steps ahead. Rashidi pushed the plunger. The sedative entered Rachel's bloodstream. She let her eyes close, let her body go slack. Played unconscious. Through barely open eyelids, she watched Kensington and Rashidi confer. Watched the guards relax. Watched everyone make the same mistake they always made. They thought the weapon was broken. They thought the threat was over. They thought they'd won. In 18 minutes, they'd learn different. In 18 minutes, Rachel Torres was going to show them what happened when you mistook mercy for weakness. When you mistook humanity for defeat. When you forgot that the woman who'd chosen to save children was still the same woman who'd been trained to end threats. In 18 minutes, Ghost 7 was going to wake up, and God help anyone who stood in her way. 18 minutes felt like 18 hours. Rachel kept her breathing slow, her body slack, playing unconscious while Kensington and Rashidi talked over her like she was already just another piece of equipment. The sedative was working, she could feel it pulling at the edges of her consciousness, but years of conditioning had taught her how to fight chemical suppression, how to partition her mind, keep one part functional while the rest shut down. The reconditioning will take approximately 6 weeks, Rashidi was saying. We'll start with sensory deprivation, move into trauma reinforcement, then rebuild the neural pathways using the new protocols. By the time we're finished, she'll be more effective than she ever was. And the emotional components, Kensington asked. The things that made her break protocol 6 years ago will be excised completely. I've learned from my mistakes. Rashidi's voice carried satisfaction. The original program allowed for too much autonomy, too much individual identity. This time we strip that away entirely. What emerges will be pure function, pure purpose. You're going to erase who she is. She was never a who director. She's always been a what. I'm simply correcting a design flaw. Rachel's hands twitched, involuntary response to rage. She forced them still. When can we move her to the facility? Kensington asked. Within the hour. I want her in a controlled environment before the sedative wears off. She's dangerous even when compromised. The guards can handle her. Can they? Rashidi laughed. Director, you've read her file. You know what she's capable of. Those guards are meat. If she wakes up hostile, she'll go through them like they're not even there. Then we'll use more sedative. Too much, and we risk brain damage. We need her cognitive function intact. Rashidi checked the monitoring equipment. No, the best option is to keep her unconscious until we have her secured in the facility. Full restraints, medical oversight. Then we can begin. Rachel counted heartbeats. Calculated time. The SEAL team would be close now. Maybe 3 minutes out. Maybe less. She needed to give them an opening. Needed to create chaos that would let them board without triggering a lockdown. Needed to become the weapon one more time. Her vitals are stable, Rashidi said. Prepare her for transport. And 2 guards moved forward, started disconnecting the monitoring equipment. Rachel waited, counted. 3, 2, 1. Her eyes snapped open. The first guard didn't even have time to react. Rachel's hand shot out, grabbed the IV line still connected to her arm, ripped it free. Blood spurted. She used the momentum to pull herself out of the chair, breaking the restraints that hadn't been fully secured yet. She's awake! The second guard reached for his sidearm. Rachel was faster. She grabbed his wrist, twisted, heard bone snap. He screamed. She took his weapon, fired 2 shots into the ceiling. The signal then turned on the first guard. He had his rifle up now. Training kicked in. He'd aim center mass double tap exactly as he'd been taught. Rachel dropped low, swept his legs. He went down hard. She was on him in a second, driving her knee into his solar plexus, taking his weapon using the rifle stock to strike the pressure point behind his ear. He went limp. Total time elapsed 4 seconds. Kensington was backing toward the door. Stop her! 4 more guards rushed in. Rachel fired 3 shots, controlled bursts, not to kill, just to suppress, and used the confusion to move. She grabbed Rashidi, pulled him in front of her, as a shield pressed the rifle barrel against his spine. Tell them to stand down, Rachel said. Her voice was cold, mechanical. Ghost 7's voice. You can't escape, Rashidi said. There's nowhere to go. We're in the middle of the ocean. I'm not trying to escape. Rachel felt the sedative pulling harder now. Her vision swam slightly. She pushed through it. I'm buying time. For what? The ship shuddered. Explosions, multiple, coming from below deck. Kensington's radio crackled. We're under attack, multiple breaches, armed personnel. The transmission cut off in gunfire. Rachel smiled. For that, Kensington's face went white. You brought a team. I brought friends. There's a difference. Rachel pressed the rifle harder against Rashidi's spine. Now here's what's going to happen. You're going to order your people to stand down. You're going to hand over every piece of Project Reaper documentation, and you're going to guarantee in writing, witnessed, legally binding, that those 43 children never see the inside of a facility again. Or what, you'll kill Rashidi? Kensington pulled out her own weapon. Go ahead. I can find another scientist, but can you survive what happens next? Can your team— My team— Rachel's laugh was harsh. My team are Navy SEALs, professional operators with nothing to lose and everything to prove. Your people are contractors and CIA paper pushers playing soldier. This fight's already over. You just don't know it yet. More explosions. Closer now. The ship listed slightly. They're scuttling us, Rashidi said. They're going to sink the ship. No. They're destroying your equipment, your data, making sure nothing survives. Rachel's grip tightened. But they'll leave the people. That's the difference between us. We still believe humans have value, even humans who don't believe it themselves. Kensington raised her weapon, pointed it at Rachel. Let him go. You won't shoot. You need him. And killing me means losing your leverage over the children. I don't need leverage anymore. Kensington's finger tightened on the trigger. I need you gone. The door exploded inward. Reeves came through, first weapon up, moving with the precision of someone who'd done this 1,000 times. Chen and Morrison followed, covering angles, clearing corners. Drop it, Reeves's voice was command. Drop it, or I drop you. Kensington hesitated, calculating odds, measuring chances. Then she fired. Not at Rachel. At Rashidi. The bullet caught him in the chest. He gasped, blood spreading across his shirt. Rachel felt him go heavy in her arms. If I can't have him, Kensington said, neither can you. She turned the gun toward herself. Rachel moved on. Instinct dropped. Rashidi crossed the distance in 3 steps. She hit Kensington's arm just as the trigger pulled. The shot went wide, hit the window, starred the glass. Chen was there in a second, disarming Kensington, forcing her to the ground. Rachel knelt next to Rashidi. He was dying. They both knew it. Blood bubbled at his lips. You were supposed to be perfect, he whispered. My greatest achievement. I was never yours, Rachel said. Even at 7. Even when you broke me down and rebuilt me into what you wanted. Some part of me remembered what it felt like to be human, to choose, to hope. Hope is weakness. No, hope is what made me stronger than you ever planned. Strong enough to walk away, strong enough to come back, strong enough to end this. Rachel leaned closer. You wanted to prove I was still just programming. But here's the truth, I chose to come here. Chose to risk everything. Not because of conditioning. Because of the boy you tortured, the children you hurt, the people you treated like raw materials. Rashidi coughed. More blood. Then I was wrong. And that means— He stopped, eyes going distant. That means everything I built was wrong. Yes. Then what was it for? What was any of it for? Rachel had no answer. Or maybe she had too many answers, and none of them would matter to a dying man who'd spent his life treating children like experiments. Rashidi's eyes closed. His breathing stopped. Rachel stood, felt the sedative pulling hard now. Her legs were unsteady. Reeves caught her. Easy, we've got you. The children, Rachel said. Are they safe? Admiral confirmed 20 minutes ago. All 43 in protective custody. Medical care, psychological support. Everything you asked for. Reeves helped her toward the door. Now come on. This ship's not stable. We need to move. They made their way through corridors filled with smoke and sparks from damaged electrical systems. Rachel's vision kept swimming. The sedative was winning. On the deck, Hayes waited with a helicopter. The SEAL team was loading equipment, hard drives, documents, everything they'd pulled from the ship's data center before destroying it. Is it done? Rachel asked. It's done, Hayes said. Every piece of Project Reaper documentation on this ship is either destroyed or in our possession. And Kensington? He glanced at where Chen was loading the director into the helicopter, hands zip-tied. She's going to testify, or she's going to prison. Either way, the program's dead. You can't kill an idea, Rachel said. Someone else will try. 5 years from now. 10 years. Someone will think they can do what Rashidi did. Do it better. Make it work. Maybe, Hayes agreed. But not today. And not to those 43 kids. That's what matters. That's what you did. Rachel wanted to argue. Wanted to point out all the ways they'd failed, all the loose ends, all the threats still out there. But the sedative was pulling her under and she was so tired. She let Reeves help her into the helicopter. Let Chen strap her in. Let Morrison check her vitals and confirm the sedative wasn't lethal, just strong. As the helicopter lifted off, Rachel looked down at the ship. It was listing badly now, taking on water from the controlled detonations the SEAL team had placed. In an hour, it would slip beneath the waves. All evidence gone. All traces of what happened here erased. Just another ghost story. Just another mission that never officially happened. Rachel's eyes closed. She dreamed of children. 43 faces. All smiling. All free. All human. When she woke up, she was in a hospital bed. Clean sheets, steady beeping of monitors, sunlight coming through a window. Chen sat in a chair next to the bed, reading a book. She looked up when Rachel stirred. "Welcome back," Chen said. "You've been out for 16 hours. "Where am I?" "Germany. NATO medical facility. Officially, you're not here. Officially, none of this happened." Chen set down the book. "But unofficially, you're under the Admiral's protection. And so are we. We, the team, me, Reeves, Morrison, the others." Chen smiled. Tired, but genuine. "Turns out conducting unauthorized military operations in international waters is frowned upon. Who knew? You're in trouble. We're in a gray area. Admirals running interference, pulling strings, calling in favors." Chen leaned forward. "But yeah, our careers are probably over. Best case we get reassigned to desk jobs. Worst case court-martial." "I'm sorry. Don't be. We chose this, knew the risks, and we'd do it again." Chen's voice was firm. "You were right at the bar. We were operators in a culture that valued hardness over humanity. But you showed us different. Showed us that strength isn't about dominating. It's about choosing, protecting, standing up even when it costs everything." Rachel sat up slowly. Her head swam. "What happens now? Now you rest, recover, figure out what comes next." Chen stood. "The Admiral wants to see you when you're ready. He's got options. New identity, relocation, whatever you need to disappear again." "I'm tired of disappearing." "Then don't. Stay. Fight. Help us figure out how to make sure Project Reaper stays dead and the people who tried to restart it face justice." Chen moved toward the door. "Or walk away. Go back to being Rachel Torres, the waitress. Either way, you've earned the choice." She left. Rachel sat alone with her thoughts, with the weight of everything that had happened. Everything she'd done. Everything she'd been and tried not to be, and ended up being anyway. The door opened again. The Admiral walked in, looking older than Rachel remembered. Tired, but satisfied. "You did good," he said. "Rashidi's dead. Kensington's in custody. But the idea's still out there. Someone else will try. Someone always tries. That's not your responsibility." The Admiral pulled up a chair. "Your responsibility was those kids, and they're safe. Rashid's asking about you, by the way. Wants to thank you." "He doesn't need to thank me." "I know. But he wants to anyway, because you gave him something Rashidi never could, a choice, a future, a chance to be human instead of a weapon." The Admiral pulled out an envelope. "I have something for you, from the children. All 43 of them. They wrote letters, drew pictures, wanted you to know what you mean to them." He set the envelope on the bed. Rachel stared at it, but didn't open it. "There's something else," the Admiral said. Reeves and his team, they're starting a new program. Not about making weapons, about healing them, teaching veterans with trauma how to process what they've been through, how to choose who they want to become instead of letting the trauma choose for them. He paused. They want you involved, as a consultant, or a participant, or both. They think you have something to teach. I don't know how to heal. I barely know how to survive. That's exactly why they want you. Because you're honest about it. Because you're still figuring it out. The Admiral stood. Think about it. No pressure, no timeline. Just know the door's open. He left. Rachel sat alone again. Finally, she opened the envelope. Inside, dozens of letters, crayon drawings, pencil sketches, words in different languages, different handwriting, different levels of skill, but all saying the same thing. Thank you. You saved us. You showed us we matter. Rachel's hands shook. Not from the sedative, from something else, something she hadn't let herself feel in 6 years. Relief. Pride. Connection. Human things. She read every letter, looked at every drawing, memorized every name. When she was done, she got out of bed. Unsteady, but determined. She found clothes civilian comfortable and got dressed. She walked out of the room, down the corridor, past nurses and orderlies who pretended not to see her because officially she wasn't there. She found Reeves in a briefing room working on a laptop. He looked up when she entered. You should be resting, he said. I've rested enough. I want to help. With your program. With the team. With whatever comes next. Rachel's voice was steady. I spent 6 years trying to be nobody. Trying to forget what I was. But I can't forget. And I can't pretend it didn't happen. So maybe instead of running from it, I use it. Help other people who've been through hell find their way back. Reeves smiled. That's the best thing I've heard all week. There's a condition, though. Name it. I'm not Ghost 7 anymore. I'm Rachel Torres. And if we're doing this, we do it as humans, not operators, not assets, not weapons. People who've been hurt and are trying to heal. People who choose every day to be better than what trauma made us. Deal. Reeves extended his hand. Welcome to the team, Rachel. She shook his hand, felt the weight of the gesture, the choice. The door opened. Chen walked in, followed by Morrison and the rest of the team. They all looked at Rachel. No words needed. They'd walked through fire together. They'd made choices that cost them everything familiar. And they'd come out the other side changed. Not broken. Not ruined. Changed. So, what do we call this program? Morrison asked. Needs a name. The weight of service, Chen said quietly. Rachel told me at the bar that she carries the weight of every life she couldn't save. But carrying weight doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong. It means you cared enough to try. Rachel felt something in her chest. Tight. Warm. Unfamiliar. Hope. Not the programmed kind. Not the desperate kind. The real kind. The kind that grew slowly like a plant pushing through concrete, refusing to die no matter how much darkness surrounded it. The weight of service, Rachel said. I like it. Then that's what we call it, Reeves said. And we start next week. First class 12 veterans with PTSD. People who've been told they're broken. People who think they're weapons that can't be repurposed. We're going to show them different. How? Morrison asked. Rachel looked at each of them, at the team that had gone from mocking her to standing beside her, at the people who'd chosen humanity over hierarchy. By telling the truth, she said, that you're never just one thing. That trauma doesn't define you unless you let it. That choosing to be human every single day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, is the bravest thing anyone can do. She thought about Rashidi, about his final words, about a life spent treating people like raw materials. She thought about the children, about 43 futures that were now open instead of closed. She thought about herself, about Ghost 7, about Rachel Torres, about the space between weapon and human, where maybe, just maybe, she'd found something worth protecting. 3 months later, Anchor Point Bar reopened. New management. Same atmosphere. Rachel stood outside looking at the building where everything had changed, where she'd been humiliated, where she'd been exposed, where she'd started the journey that led here. She walked inside. The place was busy. Friday night crowd. Laughter. Music. Life. She saw the table where the SEALs had sat. Empty now. She approached it, ran her hand along the surface. "Can I help you?" A young waitress, new nervous, trying too hard. "Just remembering," Rachel said. "I used to work here." "Oh, you coming back?" Rachel smiled. "No, I have a different job now, but I wanted to see the place one more time. Say goodbye properly." "Goodbye to what?" "To the person I was pretending to be. And hello to whoever I'm becoming." Rachel pulled out a card, set it on the table. "If you ever need help, if you ever feel trapped or scared or like you're just dead weight, call that number. There are people who understand, people who'll remind you that you matter." The waitress picked up the card, looked at it, looked at Rachel. "Thank you," she said. "You're welcome?" Rachel walked out into the night. The salt air hit her face, the sound of waves in the distance. Her phone buzzed. Text from Rashid. "Starting college next week, pre-med, going to be a doctor, going to help people like you helped me. Thank you for showing me I could choose." Rachel typed back, "You always could. I just reminded you. Good luck. Make me proud." She pocketed the phone, started walking. No destination, just movement, just forward. Behind her, the bar faded into the background. Ahead, everything was uncertain, undefined, open, and for the first time in her life, Rachel Torres wasn't afraid of that. She'd been a weapon. She'd been a ghost. She'd been deadweight and deadly force, and everything in between. Now she was just Rachel, choosing every day to be human, choosing every day to fight for people who couldn't fight for themselves, choosing every day to prove that trauma didn't have to be destiny, that weapons could become healers, that ghosts could learn to live, and that sometimes the strongest thing you could be was exactly what everyone said you weren't: someone who cared, someone who chose, someone who refused to let the darkness win. The stars came out above her, endless, bright, unafraid. Rachel walked on, carrying her weight, choosing her path, living her truth. The ghost was gone. The weapon was silent. The woman remained. And she was finally completely, defiantly free.